Hey there, welcome to this deep dive,
Oh,
where
yeah.
we're taking a journey into the depths of consciousness itself.
Wow.
We're cracking open excerpts from a document called Podcast 021 Dr. Roy, The 12 Faculties of the Divine Mind in Man.
Okay.
Quite a mouthful, right? To explore this fascinating idea of 12 spiritual faculties within us,
Right.
each symbolized by one of the 12 apostles.
Yeah, it's a really unique framework for understanding the human mind, blending spirituality with symbolism.
Okay, so let's lay out the map for this deep dive.
Okay.
We've got these 12 faculties: faith, strength, judgment, love, power, imagination, understanding, will,
Yeah.
order, zeal, renunciation, and life,
Wow.
each linked to an apostle.
Okay.
Faith with Peter, strength with Andrew, and so on.
Uh-huh.
But here's where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Dr. Roy suggests that when these faculties within us are aligned with the divine mind,
Right.
boom, it leads to a life of spiritual power and fulfillment.
And it's fascinating how the number 12 itself echoes throughout different traditions representing completeness and divine order.
Right.
Think about it.
Yeah?
12 vertebrae in your spine,
Oh, wow.
12 tribes of Israel, even 12 stones on Aaron's breastplate.
Yeah.
It adds a layer of symbolic weight to these faculties, connecting them to a greater cosmic order.
It's like a hidden code, a recurring pattern that points to something deeper.
Yeah.
So let's start unpacking these faculties.
Okay.
I'm super curious about faith, especially since it's connected to Peter, who, let's be honest,
Right.
had his moments of both incredible belief
Yeah.
and epic doubt.
Right. That's what makes Peter such a relatable figure.
Yeah.
Dr. Roy places faith in the pineal gland,
Uh-huh.
often called the third eye, and describes it as the foundation for everything we do.
Wow.
He uses that incredible story of Peter walking on water to illustrate just how powerful unwavering faith can be.
Right.
But then, of course, there's that moment when doubt creeps in and Peter starts to sink.
That's got to be a universal experience, right? Oh, yeah.
Those times when our faith feels rock solid and then suddenly
Yeah.
doubt washes over us.
Yeah.
What I find fascinating is how the document doesn't shy away from that struggle.
Right.
It actually leans into it,
Yeah.
suggesting that doubt is a natural part of the journey.
It's like that saying, the opposite of faith isn't doubt, it's certainty.
Hmm.
Doubt could actually refine our faith,
Yeah.
make it stronger.
Right.
Think about it. When has faith helped you overcome a challenge?
Yeah.
And were there moments of doubt along the way?
I'm definitely pondering that one.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to strength,
Okay, go.
represented by Andrew.
Mm-hmm.
The document links this faculty to the 12 vertebrae in the thoracic spine, specifically that small of your back.
Right.
It's all about standing upright,
Mm.
both physically and spiritually.
It's interesting how Dr. Roy connects Andrew's steadfastness,
Yeah,
his unwavering loyalty to Jesus, to the concept of enduring strength.
right.
He even brings in the Hebrew meaning of stand still.
Which is about being firm, established, rooted qualities we could all use more of,
Yeah.
especially when facing adversity.
It's like that inner resilience that helps us weather the storms of life.
Exactly.
So what gives you that inner strength? How do you stay grounded and resilient when things get tough?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's something we all grapple with.
Absolutely. And that's what makes these faculties so relevant to our lives.
Yeah.
Even today.
Yeah.
They're not just abstract concepts, but qualities we can cultivate and strengthen within ourselves.
Okay, now let's dive into love, represented by John.
Right.
The document places love in the back of the heart, the cardiac center,
Uh-huh.
and describes it as the most potent force in existence.
Wow.
But Dr. Roy makes a crucial distinction here, contrasting self-serving love,
Okay.
like the love for possessions,
Right.
with the boundless, all-encompassing agape love that Jesus exemplified.
That's such an important distinction because we often use the word love in so many different ways.
Yeah.
Dr. Roy seems to be pointing to a kind of love that goes beyond our personal desires and extends outward, embracing all beings.
And he doesn't shy away from the darker side of the equation either.
Right.
The document draws on the work of clinical psychologist Joanna Cleovalou,
Okay.
who talks about the devastating effects of hate on both the mind and body.
Wow.
It's like hate literally poisons us from the inside out.
Cleovalou's research is fascinating. She's found that hate triggers stress responses,
Oh, wow.
disrupts our mental well-being, and can even contribute to chronic illness.
Right.
It really underscores the destructive power of negativity.
It's like John said, perfect love casts out fear. If love is the antidote to fear,
Mm-hmm.
then hate is its fuel. It makes me wonder, how do we define love?
Yeah.
And are there areas in our lives where we could express more love,
Right.
even in small ways?
That's a powerful question to reflect on. And it leads us to the next faculty, power,
Okay.
which can be a tricky one, right?
Exactly. And Dr. Roy acknowledges that right from the start.
Yeah.
He connects power to Philip,
Okay.
situating it at the root of the tongue,
Uh-huh.
which makes sense considering words have immense power.
Right.
He emphasizes that true power needs to be used responsibly,
Yeah.
for the benefit of others, not just for personal gain.
And it's interesting how Dr. Roy highlights both Philip the Apostle, known for his miracles and unwavering faith,
Right.
and Philip the Evangelist, who used his clear explanations and understanding to spread the teachings of Jesus.
Right.
It's like they represent different facets of spiritual power, one focused on action, the other on communication and understanding.
There's also that great story of Philip and the Ethiopian eunuch, where Philip uses his clear communication and understanding to break down barriers and connect with someone from a completely different background.
Wow.
It's a powerful example of how words can bridge divides and create understanding.
It reminds us that the words we choose have a ripple effect, impacting not just ourselves, but those around us. Think about it. How do you use your voice? What words do you speak that have the power to uplift or to tear down?
Ooh, that's a good one to sit with. It's a reminder to be mindful of the impact of our words,
Right.
to use our voices for good. Now on to imagination,
Okay.
embodied by Bartholomew, also known as Nathaniel.
Okay.
Dr. Roy puts this faculty between the eyes, suggesting it's how we receive divine ideas and project them into the world.
What I find so intriguing about this faculty is that it goes beyond simply daydreaming.
Right.
It's about tapping into a deeper source of creativity, a connection to the divine mind that allows us to see beyond the surface and perceive hidden truths.
Oh, wow.
Dr. Roy brings up the story of Nathanael under the fig tree, where Jesus, using his spiritual imagination, sees Nathanael's true nature before they've even met.
It's like Jesus could see through the veil of appearances and perceive Nathaniel's heart. And Dr. Roy takes it a step further, exploring the symbolic meaning of color, particularly as it's used throughout the Bible, suggesting that color itself is connected to spiritual experiences and the divine mind.
Yes, and he highlights the role of imagination in artistic expression.
Right.
How it allows us to translate those divine ideas into tangible forms. What inspires your imagination? What dreams or visions do you want to bring to life? It's about recognizing that we all have this incredible creative potential within us.
This is already so mind-blowing.
Okay.
We've got a few more faculties to explore,
Wow.
so buckle up.
All right. It's like we each have an artist's palette within us, waiting to be explored and expressed.
Right.
But sometimes those divine ideas need a little help taking shape.
Right.
Which brings us to understanding,
Okay.
represented by Thomas. You know, the one who needed to touch Jesus's wounds before he could believe.
A.S. Doubting Thomas.
Yeah.
He gets a bit of a bad rap, doesn't he?
He does.
But Dr. Roy places understanding right in the center of the forehead,
Oh, wow.
in the front brain, suggesting that it's more than just intellectual knowledge.
Right.
It's about connecting with the divine mind in a way that transcends our physical senses.
And it's interesting how Dr. Roy uses the story of Thomas, not to criticize doubt,
Right.
but to highlight the importance of seeking understanding.
Uh-huh.
Remember, Jesus didn't condemn Thomas for his skepticism.
Yeah.
He met him where he was,
Right.
offering the proof he needed to move forward in his faith.
It's like a permission slip to ask questions,
Totally.
to grapple with doubt, to seek deeper meaning. Dr. Roy even suggests that those who haven't seen physical proof but still believe are actually blessed.
Oh, wow.
It's about cultivating a level of understanding that goes beyond what we can see and touch.
It's that leap of faith,
Yeah.
that willingness to trust in something greater than ourselves, even when we don't have all the answers.
Right.
Have you ever had an experience where you struggled to grasp a concept or had your doubts, but then something clicked
Yeah.
and you reached a deeper level of understanding?
Oh, absolutely. It's like those moments when a light bulb goes off
Yes.
and suddenly things make sense in a way they didn't before.
Right.
It's more than just an intellectual aha moment. It's a shift in perspective, a deeper knowing.
Exactly. And that shift often comes from being open to different ways of knowing, to expanding our awareness beyond the limitations of our five senses.
Yeah.
It's about recognizing that there's always more to learn, that our understanding can evolve as we deepen our connection with the divine mind.
Okay, so we've got understanding the aha moments now. Let's talk about putting those insights into action.
Okay.
That's where will comes in, right?
So you got it. And Dr. Roy links will to Matthew,
Okay.
also known as Levi.
Uh-huh.
What's interesting is that Matthew was a tax collector before he followed Jesus.
Okay.
Back then, tax collectors were often seen as corrupt and untrustworthy.
So we're talking about a major life change.
Yeah.
It's like Matthew had to exercise his will to break free from a system that no longer aligned with his values.
Right. And Dr. Roy places his will right alongside understanding in the forehead, suggesting they work together.
Interesting.
He emphasizes that our will needs to be in harmony with the divine will,
Right.
reminding us of Jesus' prayer in the Garden of Gethsemane.
Mm-hmm.
Not my will, but yours be done. It's about surrendering our ego's desires to a greater purpose.
That can be a tough one, though, can it?
Okay, can.
I mean, we all have those moments where we dig in our heels,
Yeah.
clinging to our own will, even when it's leading us down a path of frustration or struggle.
It's a common human experience, but Dr. Roy challenges us to examine our motives.
Yeah.
And consider whether our will is truly aligned with our spiritual path.
Okay.
It's about asking, is this choice serving my highest good, or am I clinging to something out of fear or ego?
So how do we shift from that place of stubborn self-will to a place of alignment with the divine will?
Dr. Roy suggests it's a process of spiritual development, of consciously choosing to align our thoughts and actions with the principles of what he calls the living word. It's about cultivating a deeper awareness of our connection to the divine mind and allowing that connection to guide our choices. It's like tuning into a deeper wisdom within us,
Right.
a compass that points us in the right direction.
Okay, so we've got understanding, we've got will. Now, let's talk about creating some order out of all this. Next up is, you guessed it, order.
And Dr. Roy associates order with James of Alphaeus,
Okay.
placing it right at the navel, the center point of the body.
It's like that central hub from which everything else flows, right?
Yes.
But when I think of order, I sometimes get this image of rigidity, of things being overly structured and predictable.
Right.
I'm guessing Dr. Roy has a different perspective.
He does. He emphasizes the importance of order, not in a restrictive sense,
Okay.
but in terms of creating a framework that allows for freedom and growth.
Right.
Think of it like a garden. If you want to cultivate a beautiful and thriving garden, you need to create order. You need to prepare the soil, plant the seeds in the right place, and provide the necessary nourishment.
But within that structure, there's so much room for creativity and expression.
Exactly.
Each plant is unique, and they all contribute to the overall beauty of the garden.
Dr. Roy suggests that true order is about aligning ourselves with the natural laws of the universe, allowing those laws to guide us toward a state of balance and harmony. He even brings in the story of Melchizedek,
Okay.
king of Salem,
Right.
who represents divine order.
And Salem means peace, right?
Yes.
It was also an early name for Jerusalem, suggesting that divine order leads to a state of inner peace and wholeness.
It's a beautiful concept. When we align ourselves with divine order,
Right.
we tap into a source of peace and stability that transcends the chaos and uncertainty of the external world. It's like finding our center,
Yeah.
that still point within us that remains calm amidst the storms of life.
This is giving me a whole new perspective on the idea of order. Okay, so we've covered quite a few faculties. Faith, strength, love, power, imagination, understanding, will, and order.
Wow.
My brain is already doing some heavy lifting.
It's definitely a lot to take in,
Yeah,
but it's so enriching, isn't it?
it is.
Each of these faculties offers a unique lens through which we can view ourselves and our world.
Absolutely. And we've still got a few more to explore: zeal, renunciation, and life.
Okay.
Those sound pretty intense.
They certainly are. Now, the excerpt we're working with doesn't provide dedicated chapters for zeal and renunciation.
Okay.
However, they're still included in Dr. Roy's list of 12 faculties,
Right.
so we can definitely touch upon their significance.
Okay, let's start with zeal. What comes to mind when you think of that word?
To me, zeal evokes a sense of passionate enthusiasm, a fire in the belly that drives us to make a difference in the world. It's that unwavering commitment to a cause or belief
Right.
that fuels our actions and inspires us to persevere, even in the face of challenges.
It's like that spark that ignites our soul and propels us forward.
Yeah.
But I can also see how zeal, if it's not balanced with wisdom and discernment, could lead us down a path of fanaticism or even recklessness.
Absolutely. And while Dr. Roy doesn't delve into zeal in detail,
Okay.
it seems he would agree that it needs to be tempered by understanding and compassion. It's
Right.
about channeling that passionate energy
Yeah.
in a way that's both effective and aligned with our higher purpose.
It makes me think of those people who are so passionate about their beliefs
Yeah.
that they become blinded to other perspectives or even justify harmful actions.
Oh, wow.
It's a reminder that even positive qualities, if they're taken to an extreme, can have unintended consequences.
That's such an important point.
Yeah.
It seems Dr. Roy's framework emphasizes the interconnectedness of all these faculties,
Yeah.
suggesting that they need to work in harmony with each other to create a balanced and fulfilling life.
Right.
Developing one without the others can lead to imbalance and even harm.
Okay, so zeal is that passionate fire that needs to be guided by wisdom and compassion.
Right.
Now, what about renunciation?
Okay.
That word always sounds a bit daunting, like
Yeah.
it involves giving up everything we hold dear.
It definitely carries a certain weight, doesn't it?
It does.
But Dr. Roy seems to be suggesting that renunciation is less about deprivation
Okay.
and more about letting go of attachments that hinder our spiritual growth.
Right.
These attachments could be material possessions, limiting beliefs, or even unhealthy relationships. Anything that keeps us tethered to the ego's limited perspective.
So it's about detaching from the things that no longer serve us.
Yeah.
Making space for something new and more aligned with our true selves.
Yeah, exactly. Dr. Roy seems to frame renunciation as an act of liberation,
Okay.
of freeing ourselves from the constraints of the ego and opening ourselves to the limitless possibilities of the divine mind. It's like shedding old skin, allowing us to step into a more authentic and expansive way of being.
It's a powerful concept, but also a challenging one. It makes me think about all the things I cling to out of fear or insecurity,
Yeah,
even when I know deep down that they're not truly beneficial.
right.
It's a reminder that true freedom often involves letting go of what we think we need in order to embrace what we truly desire.
That's a profound insight. It
Huh?
seems Dr. Roy is inviting us to examine our attachments and consider what we might need to renounce in order to fully embrace our spiritual potential.
Right.
What if letting go is actually the key to receiving something even greater?
That's a great question to ponder. And it leads us to the final and perhaps most profound faculty of them all, life.
And as you might expect, Dr. Roy doesn't attempt to define life in a simple or straightforward way.
Right.
It's too vast, too multifaceted to be captured in a single definition. Instead, he seems to suggest that life is the culmination of all the other faculties working together in harmony.
Okay.
It's the expression of the divine mind within us, the full realization of our spiritual potential.
It's like all of these individual faculties, these different aspects of our being coming together to create a symphony of wholeness and vitality.
Exactly. Dr. Roy emphasizes that true life is about more than just physical existence. It's about living in alignment with our divine nature,
Right.
experiencing the fullness of joy, love, and purpose that comes with connecting to our source.
It makes me realize that I've often viewed life as a series of challenges to overcome or goals to achieve,
Yeah.
as if it's something we need to conquer or control.
Yeah.
But maybe it's actually much simpler than that. Maybe it's about allowing ourselves to be fully present in each moment,
Right.
experiencing the richness and beauty that already exists within us and all around us.
That's a beautiful perspective.
Yeah.
And it aligns perfectly with Dr. Roy's message.
Yeah.
He seems to be guiding us toward a deeper appreciation for the gift of life, encouraging us to embrace it fully and express it in a way that's both authentic and aligned with our divine purpose. What if the key to experiencing true life is to simply surrender to the flow of it, to trust in the unfolding of our journey?
I love that. It takes the pressure off, doesn't it?
It does.
It's not about striving or forcing things to happen,
Right.
but about aligning ourselves with a greater current and allowing ourselves to be carried along.
It's like we're all on this grand river of life, and instead of trying to paddle upstream against the current, we can choose to relax into the flow, trusting that we'll be guided to where we need to be.
Yeah, it's like letting go of the oars and just enjoying the scenery.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it reminds us that we're not alone on this journey. We're all connected, all part of this intricate tapestry of life, each of us playing our unique role.
It's like we're all individual instruments in a grand orchestra, each contributing our own sound to create a symphony of existence.
I love that. And it brings us back to Dr. Roy's central message, which is that we're at our core spiritual beings having a human experience.
Yeah.
These 12 faculties are not just abstract concepts, but inherent aspects of our spiritual nature,
Okay.
waiting to be awakened and expressed.
So it's not about becoming superhuman, but about becoming more fully human, more fully alive, more fully ourselves.
Precisely. And Dr. Roy emphasizes that this awakening doesn't happen passively. It requires conscious effort, a willingness to engage with our inner world and align our thoughts and actions with the principles of the living word.
It's like we have to actively participate in our own evolution.
Exactly. It's about making choices that support our spiritual growth, even when those choices are challenging or require us to step outside of our comfort zones. It's about showing up for our own evolution, one conscious choice at a time.
And that's where the growth happens, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's where the real magic happens, is in those moments of choice, those moments when we choose love over fear, faith over doubt, surrender over control, that we tap into the true power of the divine mind within us.
This deep dive has
Dr. Roy's work is just a starting point.
to our inner sanctuary. But it's up to each of us to step through that door and explore the vast landscape that lies within.
Exactly. And as you continue on your journey, remember to approach it with a sense of curiosity, wonder, and playfulness. Don't be afraid to ask questions, to challenge assumptions, to explore different perspectives.
Because ultimately, this journey is about discovering the unique expression of the divine within you, the song that only your soul can sing.
And that song is a masterpiece waiting to be shared with the world.
So as we wrap up this deep dive, I have one final question for our listeners. If you could fully develop one of these 12 faculties, which would it be and why? Think about which aspect of your inner potential you'd most like to cultivate and what that might look like in your life. Until next time, keep exploring, keep growing, and keep diving deep.